So yesterday, Sony announced that the brand new PlayStation Plus service would be launching in June with 3 tiers. The PlayStation Plus Essential, which provides the same benefits as PlayStation Plus for members at $9.99 a month, and this is US dollars that I'm talking about. The PlayStation Plus Extra at $14.99 a month, which adds a catalog of up to 400 of the most enjoyable PS4 and PS5 games. But the tier that I'm most interested in, and the one that we're going to talk about today, is the PlayStation Plus Premium at $17.99 a month. Now, this offers all the benefits of the previous tiers, including up to 340 additional classic games. PlayStation 3 games are available via cloud streaming, a catalog of beloved classic games available in both streaming and download options from the original PlayStation, PS2 and PSP generations. There's also cloud streaming access for original PlayStation, PS2, PSP and PS4 games offered in the extra and premium tiers in markets where PlayStation Now is currently available. Customers can stream games using PS4 and PS5 consoles and PC. Limited time game trials will also be offered in this tier, so customers can try select games before they buy. Today's video is brought to you by Surfshark VPN. With internet privacy being such a huge deal these days, it's more important now than ever to protect yourself. With Surfshark VPN, you can easily hide your IP address and encrypt all data that you send and receive. You can easily switch regions to other countries in the world. This means not only your true IP address and identity is masked, it also means you can get around any annoying geolocation locked video content. You know, the ones that say, this video isn't supported in your country? This can get annoying for me when I want to watch local Aussie news. Surfshark VPN also allows you to connect to unlimited devices simultaneously on a single account. And this includes Windows devices, Linux, Android, iOS, Amazon Fire TV, and much more. Surfshark VPN has an awesome offer on right now. If you sign up at surfshark.deal/MVG, you will save 83% off and receive 3 extra months for free. And if you think it sucks, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, which will give you plenty of time to try out Surfshark VPN risk-free. So with that said, let's talk about the 340 classic games that are coming to the service that's going to be spread across PlayStation, PlayStation 1, PSP, and PS3. Now, this will be a curated list of games across all platforms. So in other words, this is not going to be backward compatibility where you can pop a disc in and play your old games like what you can do on the Xbox Series X, for example. Rather, think about this more like the Nintendo Switch online service for classic games, where you basically can select the game you want to play, download it, and either download it and play it or stream it over the cloud. Now, with that said, what are my thoughts about this service? Now, this is definitely something that's up my alley. This is emulation. This is something I'm very much interested in, and I am going to check out this service. And I will say that I'm generally happy that Sony is finally acknowledging their legacy and offering this to their customers. But that said, in much of the same way that I had concerns about the Nintendo Switch Online service for Nintendo 64 games, I share similar concerns here. Now, I think my biggest issue with this service, and I want to be clear that I'm only talking about the classic games being offered, and that is that Sony will probably just dust off their existing emulation solutions that they have for the PS1 and for the PS2. Now, as you know, PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 Classics are available already on the PS4 and the PS5 via PS4 backward compatibility. And while these emulators work, they are in serious need of updating, and I'm hopeful, once again, I'm hopeful, we don't know yet, we'll definitely see when the service comes out, but I am hopeful that work has been done. Now, why am I concerned about PlayStation 2 Classics? Well, the emulation, while it works, is in need of updates. Now, with a modded PS4, you can actually package up any PS2 game and run it on a PS4 via the PS2 Classics emulator. And the community has tested over 1,200 games. Now, the final breakdown of this is that 54 of those games are PS2 Classic releases, official releases that were released by Sony. 615 are considered playable, which is a pretty good percentage, but it's also, just over 50%, right? So we're talking about 50% of the games on PS2 Classics work without any issue or with minor issues. 223 have minor issues. 81 have major issues, and 262 are unplayable. Now, considering Sony hasn't mentioned anything about HDR, FPS boost, widescreen support, those types of things that the Xbox backward compatibility program offers, I don't think we'll see here. I think, honestly, we're just going to have the option to play PS1, PS2, and PSP games really without any features. But one thing that you should expect that with any game that you can download, any PS1 Classic, PS2, or PSP, I would expect trophy support to be added to any classic game that can be downloaded. And in fact, Sony recently released a patent for adding trophies to classic games. So I think this is definitely a result of that. But let's talk about the big elephant in the room, and that is PlayStation 3. Now, many people are still genuinely confused as to why it's only cloud streaming and it's not native. And the answer really is simple. Sony can absolutely run PlayStation 3 emulation on the PlayStation 5. There should be enough performance to do so. But this is not about performance or overhead. The architecture is there. The PlayStation 5 has enough memory bandwidth. It has the CPU cores. It has the GPU support. It should be able to do it. But the biggest issue, and one that I've talked about in the past, is that adding PlayStation 3 emulation is a significant investment to Sony, and significant enough that Sony would need to dedicate a team to develop an emulation layer for the PlayStation 3. And this team would be tasked with building a PS3 emulator based on all their source code, documentation, hardware references, everything. They have basically all the information they need to build a PS3 emulator, and with a high level of compatibility, I might add. That particular team, if it existed, would be required not only to develop an emulation engine, but to iterate it and to tweak it and refine it over many, many years of work. This is not a 6-month, 12-month initiative and then it's forgotten about. This is something that requires years and years and years of work of development, building, iterating, fine-tuning. If we take a look at Microsoft with the OG Xbox emulation when it released for the Xbox 360, when that system launched back in 2005, that emulation, while it worked, it was quite rough around the edges. Now, at the time when you compared Microsoft's backward compatibility solution in software to Sony's, Microsoft was way behind. But Microsoft never stopped iterating. They never stopped developing their backward compatibility engine. And it is the way it is today because it's been many, many years of tweaking and refining. And while there's no reason PS3 games can't run on PS5, it's never been a key vector for them. And there's also issues with acquiring licenses. And I'm saying things I know that people are just going to throw their hands up in the air, but these things are real issues. When we look at Microsoft and the backward compatibility program, they recently announced they were ending the service because they had exhausted all their technical and licensing options available to them. Sony would face similar concerns. There is a massive legal undertaking for acquiring licenses and rights to older games. And it does make me wonder what the 340 games will look like as far as the games we're expecting to see. There are many old games that simply are being remastered or remade. For example, a remake of Demon's Souls on the PS5 is a lot cooler than running an emulated PS3 version. But this is also at the cost of PS3 games never being able to run on the PlayStation 5. So with that all said, I am going to wait and reserve judgment when this service comes out. I'm a little disappointed that this is not a true back-compat solution, but it was never going to be. And I think people that did expect native PS3 were always going to be disappointed. Now, I do hope, though, that something can be done about this. And I do hope that Sony's R&D labs are working on PlayStation 3 emulation as we speak. And I think it's time that the hardware makers really started to think about emulation, because we're in an age now where there are many, many games that are being brought back either via ports, remasters, remakes, or emulation. This is not a problem that's just simply going to go away. The big hardware makers, Phil Spencer made a comment last year that there needs to be some different approach to emulation, a unified approach where you can just put any disc into your system and play an old game without any restriction on licensing, DRM and whatnot. Unfortunately, I just think this is hopes and wishes at this point with really no action taken, and I don't think this issue will ever resolve itself. So unfortunately, we're going to be tied to these online services where games are curated for you, Microsoft did a lot of good work with the backward compatibility program, but honestly, we don't really know the future of that either. Right now, it's done, and it could be done forever. We'll definitely have to wait and see where that goes. So in conclusion, if you want to play PS3 games, then buy a PS3 or download RC PS3. It's the emulation community that has and always will preserve video games for all of us, but we will be looking at the PlayStation 3 premium tier when it does come out over the summer, and we'll just have to wait and see what Sony has for us. I'm not expecting the world here, but hopefully we'll get at least a good curated list of games and something that's compelling enough for people to jump in and enjoy. And hopefully they will continue to update this list of games as well. But I am very, very nervous and concerned that the emulation side is probably just pretty bare bones, and licensing restrictions are really going to make a big difference to what we see. And of course, PlayStation 3 is not native. We knew that, but this is just another blow to those people that did expect PlayStation 3 native games on this service. Unfortunately, that's not the case, but maybe we'll see it offered at some point. I am hopeful that Sony is working on this behind the scenes for us, but we'll have to wait and see. But we are going to leave it here for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts about the PlayStation Plus premium tier with the 340 classic games that are being offered on the service over the summer. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye for now.